Hey guys, it's Jamie with Therapy and Knots, and today we are going to make a hat, somewhat in the car. All right, stay tuned. So I'm purposely setting this up in the car because I know a lot of you mamas spend some time in the car waiting on your kiddos. And this is like the perfect hobby to take with you. I have my crochet bag. And I have a couple of items that we're going to need for today's project that we're going to go over. And I'm going to show you a hack that you can use with your own steering wheel. All right, so for our hat, we're going to do almost an identical pattern that we did on our headband. So you're going to need the same hook that we used last time, which is an 8.0 millimeter or an L. And then for today's project, I'm going to also use Lion brand. This is that super soft, chunky yarn. So if we see there, let's see, where does it tell me where my yarn is? There it is right here. So super bulky number 6. Again, we're going to use an 8 millimeter crochet hook. You're going to need a tapestry or a yarn needle, some scissors, and at the very end of this, I'm going to show you where you can get some furry hair toppers. And then I'm also, I don't know why I'm trying to call them hair topper. I guess they are hair, but anyways, I'll show you where to get them, and I will show you how to attach them to your hat. So here we go. Okay guys, so this is hack number 1. This yarn is going to fit perfectly in your steering wheel, and then you just pull your yarn out as you do your little crafty stuff. Yep, like it's just made for crochet. It's perfect. So the only thing about taping you in this car is I have like no place to put the camera. So this video, you're going to have every view of my vehicle. So the pattern is going to be listed on the website, the therapyandknots.com, that you can follow the pattern, but I want to really show you how you can customize this hat to fit anybody, and it's super easy to customize. So first things first, I'm going to make my slip knot. Looks like that when you're looking at it, and I'm going to put my needle through, and I want to leave a little bit of a tail. So you got that little bit of a tail left over, and then here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to crochet probably about, let's start with 10. We're going to do 10 chain stitches right on top of here. Okay, so here's the key to making this completely customizable to anybody. You're going to put, and people are going to look at me like I'm crazy, but you're going to put this right on the edge of your nose, and you want to measure the top up to the crown of your head. So obviously we are nowhere near close. So I'm going to keep adding some more chain stitches until I get to the point that this fits perfectly from the tip of my nose up to the top of my head. Okay, so for me, this ended up being 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 chain stitches. So when we first start our row 1, what we're going to end up doing is 15 single chains. So just remember that first loop doesn't count. So 16 single chains. I'll put this in the pattern, but just know that you're from the tip of your nose to your crown, and depending on what your yarn is using, it might be different. Okay, so highly recommend that you do that customization. So on this is the front, this is the back. We're going to find the second loop from the chain and do a single chain just like we did the other day. So we have, oh, this is hard to do on the camera this time. So we have one on the top that's attached to that doesn't count. So then we're going to go 1 and 2. We're going to put our crochet hook in the top of that loop. So I end up with 2 right there, and I'm going to yarn over, pull through once, yarn over, pull through both. So that built our first single chain, and what I'm going to do is our single chain all the way across, just like we did on our headband. Thought I was joking about the different views in the car. Okay, so I finished row 1 all the way across. So we have our first row, which is where we did our chain stitches, and then our single crochets on the top. So for this pattern, we're going to do exactly what we did for our headband, and we are going to chain 1 and turn, chain 1, and turn our product so that you end up with the wrong side facing you, right side facing out. Again, there's really no right or wrong. That's just what they call it. So what I'm going to do again is I'm going to then find my first stitch, which is that hole right there. And I'm going to do single chains all the way across to the end. And when we get to this last one, just like we talked about on the headband, you sometimes have to take your fingers and find that last little stitch, because here, I'll show you what it looked like before. It ends up, it's not like a perfect little square. See how it's kind of rounded there at the end? And so you don't want to stop here, because if you do, then you're going to end up building this where it has these little humpy things on the side. You don't want that. So make sure you come all the way to the end, use your fingers, and find that hole for that last little stitch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue to do single chains across, chain one, turn, single chains across, chain one, turn. And I'm going to do that until I can get a nice rectangle that actually will go all the way around my head, just like we did with the headband. So a headband, remember, it was like this and came across. So this hat's just going to go up a little bit higher. And then once I get to that point, I'm going to come back to you and show you what the next steps are. All right, hang tight. Okay, I'm popping back in early because I do think this is important. So I have one more stitch to make in this row, and I wanted to show you what I'm talking about. So here's where we're at right here. And you see that this is kind of like a curved part. So a lot of times when you're starting with crocheting, especially with some kinds of yarn, this first or this last stitch, let me rephrase, this last stitch right here can be very tricky to find. And if you don't, what ends up happening is your pattern ends up kind of like, it's no longer a rectangle, it kind of comes misshaped. So this last little piece right here, put your fingers and find your two loops. It's almost like it lays sideways, I guess. I don't know, it's probably the best way to say that. So again, gonna come through both of those top loops of that single chain above, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, chain one, turn. Okay, and I mean it this time. I'll come back when this is fully done. The video series for this pattern is making me laugh because I'm pretty sure y'all are like, where else can she be making this hat? Okay, we're so close to being done. I'm gonna wrap this little piece up. So just like we did on the headband, we're gonna customize this to our own head or whoever's head that you're making it to. So you're gonna, oh, my stitches fell out. Let me fix those really quick. So I'm gonna fix this last little bit of a rectangle. And if you guys saw, I posted just a really quick video on the Facebook page the other day. Well, I think I put it on here on YouTube too. Just talking about how to double check your work to make sure that your sides are staying even as you're coming all the way down, because you don't want to be, I was like almost done with this project and then realized that my rectangle was kind of going like a pyramid. So check your, learn from my mistakes, check your work a lot. Okay, so customizing your hat. So you're gonna pick it up and you're gonna put it around your own head or whoever's head that you're gonna put. And remember, you do want a little bit of tension on this. You don't want it super loose, because if you do, the hat's gonna fall down. So I'm gonna take my crochet needle and I'm gonna take these two edges and put them together. With this particular pattern, it does not matter which side is front and which side's back, because we did the same stitch over and over again. But if you remember, just like we did with our headband, we're going to sandwich those two things together. We're gonna pull that loop super tight, or not super tight, but tight on ours. So it's like this. And I'm gonna go through those first two in the front, first two in the back, yarn over and pull through. And this is where we do our slip stitch. So we have two on here and we're gonna slide that under. And I'm going to do that all the way across. Okay, here we go. So this is what we end up with. And if I put this on my head, it's like this really big headband. And as appealing as that is, let's fix this a little bit. So what we're gonna do is sew up the top part of our hat. Oh, that left it good. So what I'm gonna do is take my loop and I'm gonna give myself, I probably give myself way more than I could possibly ever need, but this is my thoughts on this. I would rather probably overdo it than underdo it. So I'm gonna give myself a good probably 10 to 12 inches. Gonna use my scissors to cut. And then you're just going to, this is the yarn that's attached to my yarn. I'm going to gently pull through. And what that's gonna do is leave me, now this is the tail of our project. I'll show you what to do with that here in a second. This is our tail that we're gonna use to sew the top part of the hat together. So on this particular one, this is the inside of the hat. So when we get done sewing it, so when you do this and you're like, girl, that looks kind of funky, it's gonna be okay because this is the inside of our hat. So I'm gonna take my tapestry needle, and you know, you can get these in any forms, and it really doesn't matter which one you want. Go get the cheap one, girl. So you can get them in all kinds of different kinds. I don't know why, but this one tends to be my favorite. It's like my go-to one. So I'm going to wind this around at the end and stick this on here. And then what we are going to do is, let's see if I can do this in the camera. We are going to go in and out all the way around. So let's see if I can do this without it looking funky here. Let's see. Hold on. All right. So all I have, so this is the inside of the hat, and I'm going to work all along this edge, winding my needle in and out and in. Oh, this is not showing very well. And out and in and out. So I get just like a few of them in. I get that to pop right through. There's no right or wrong. All I'm doing is just trying to find the holes in the stitches just to make it easy for me. And then I'm going to pull this through, and what you're seeing is it's starting to pull this tight right here. And then I'm going to go again. I'm going to go in and out, in and out. I just do a couple of them until it's kind of hard on that needle. So just like that, and then I'm going to pull it through. Now I don't go real tight yet. We'll have time to do that. I'm just kind of pulling the thread through, in and out, in and out. Slide that through all the way until we make our way back around to where we started. So almost there, almost there. Ooh, this is gonna be a long video. Okay, we're so close. Couple more. Almost there, almost there, almost there. All right. So where did we end up? So let's show you where I ended up. So now what we've done is that hole has gotten really, really a lot smaller. And I'm going to very gently just kind of pull. You don't want to be crazy excited with it, but you do want to kind of get it tight. So I'm going to put you down this way so you can kind of see what I'm doing here. Oh, this white yarn. So all I'm doing, pulling. All right. Let's get you down here just a little. Okay, so on this, now what I'm going to do is basically, see that there's like a little bit of an opening still left in here. So what I want to do is close that hole. I'm going to grab both ends of this, tighten it here, and I'm going to just sew through so that it's like a cross. So I'm going to sew through this way, and then I'm going to take my thread and sew it this way. And all it's doing is that you still, even though you've pulled it tight, you have like this little bit of opening. And by sewing that cross in there, it's going to close that loop all the way up. Okay, so let me do that now and I'll be right back. So I just kind of want to show you what I'm talking about. So all I'm doing, I just threaded my needle through, and I'm going to make a stitch all the way across. And I'm going to do that twice. I am pulling a little bit tight. So again, right through there, pulling it through tight. And then what I'm going to do, so my stitches went this way, now I want my stitches to go this way. So I just turn the hat a little bit, take my stitch, I grab some of the stitches. There is no right or wrong with this. It does not matter how many you grab. Just find some spots to stick that yarn needle through, and some of them are easier than others, not gonna lie. Some of them are easier than others. Just kind of figure out where it's easy. Oh my goodness, can't find a good spot for any of them. There we go. So I'm gonna pull that all the way through. So what that did is it closed up the top of our hat. You're gonna take the rest of this and you're just going to wind down into a few of these stitches so nothing pulls loose. So I'm gonna take a stitch and pull it through. I'm just grabbing anything, doesn't matter. Grabbing anything, maybe. There we go. I'm gonna take this and loop it around so that I just have one little tiny knot there at the top. And then I'm gonna take this and just wind it down into whatever loop I can get. And all I'm doing is just kind of tucking away some of that tail, because you don't want to cut it too close because you don't want it to unwind on you. So just give yourself a little bit of winding down. And then from there, take your tail and cut as close as you can. So that leftover yarn, cut right there. So you do have that one little piece of thread that was left over from your tail of when you very first started your project. This one's pretty secure, but I do go in and just thread it through just a little bit more. So I'm going to do that now, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so you have your hat, it's inside out, so you're going to just flip it over, and you have a hat. Now you can stop here, or I am going to show you the very best thing that you can buy off Amazon, and they're super cheap. All right, so I got a pack of them in the mail just today, and I was like, oh my goodness, could that be any better time? You can go get yourself a fur topper. So I got an assortment. I'm going to put the link for this down below, and then actually I'll put the link over in the blog that has the pattern. All you got to do is just click that and then click that, and then it'll take you over and you can go get these yourself. I always will think that, you know, the hardest part is figuring out which one do you want to use, right? But look at how cute these little things are. Now, when it comes to fur toppers, what I'm going to highly recommend, they kind of come in a couple different forms, but what I like the best, and I'm going to show you how to attach, is I like the ones that have these little elastic, little loopy things. That's going to make your life so much easier attaching this to the top of your hat. All right, I'm going to go make the brave decision of what topper is going to go on this hat, and then I'm going to show you how to put it on. To put the topper on the hat, you're going to need a couple of things. You're going to need a tapestry or yarn needle. You're going to need some scissors. You're going to need your topper, and again, I recommend the toppers that have the little loops, and I will put the link so you can get this exact thing, or at least see the description and what I pick on Amazon. And these are fairly cheap, so don't buy the expensive ones. You're going to need to cut yourself a little bit of your yarn. I like to probably, I don't know, 10 to 12 inches. You probably, again, don't need that long. I get a little overzealous with this, but I'm going to cut myself. I'm going to put this all the way over here, and I'm going to take this and thread it through. I still totally have the hat on my head at some point. Let's see here. There we go. So let's get this hat on my head. What I like to do is fold the hat. So again, the outside is out. This is the top of the hat that people would see. I like to fold the hat a little bit in half because it gives me space that I can work from the inside and from the outside, and it just makes life a little easier. So you're going to take this tapestry or yarn needle with the yarn, and you're going to come up from the inside of the hat, finding somewhere in the center. So I'm going to come right up, again, just sticking this right through the center. There's no right or wrong with this. Don't worry about making it just somewhere in the center, and I'm going to pull it up. And I'm going to leave myself a tail inside here, if you can see this. This is just like half of the thread that's in there. And then what I'm going to do is grab and put this through that little loop. Just like that. I will tell you, I have a tad bit of OCD, and for you all that know me, you're laughing right now. You're like, okay, we'll go with the word tad. What I like to do is actually loop it through that loop twice, just because I don't want it to go anywhere. So I'll just find it again, there it is, and loop it through again. So it's basically looping over itself. And then you want to come right back down in the center of the hat again. So I'm just finding a good little spot, doesn't matter. Right down in the center and pull it through. So go ahead and slide your tapestry or yarn needle all the way off, and you're done with it. So I'm going to put it back in my little pencil case that I've got going on. So from here, I'm going to flip this over, and I'm going to have two tails that are going to come out, and you want to go so super tight on this. So pull, 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 pull until it's like that little ball of fur. It's so close. So what I do, again, no right or wrong, I do one loop just like a knot, one loop with a knot, tie as tight as I can, and then from here what I'm going to do is actually a double loop. So I go through and I go through again, so it looks like that, and I pull that as tight as possible, and then I just do one more regular knot. I'm going to take my scissors, cut the ends, put my scraps over, pull it up, and voila. All right, girls, so the very best tip that I can give you about these little furry things is when they package them, the fur gets like all clumped down, right? Because they're kind of like compressing the air. Go get your hair dryer and set it on the lowest setting and just blow dry it. And what this is going to do is make this go, and you're going to end up with that hat with all kinds of furry stuff on top of it. But, all right, ladies, so, oh my goodness, how cute is that? This is such a good project to start with. Start with that headband first. Move over. Go get yourself a little fur topper. You'd be making yourself some presents for people. This is good stuff. All right, guys, you go be amazing today. Go check out the blog. It's going to have the pattern on there. And if you would like to get one that doesn't, this is like you can print out, it's like a PDF type. There'll be a link for that also. And all right, let's see what our next project is going to be. Okay, guys, thank you.